Welcome to the Moser On Manufacturing podcast, brought to you by Jacket Media Co.
I'm just wild about Harry, and Harry's wild about me. The heavenly bliss.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Lou Weiss from Manufacturing Talk Radio, and I'm here with Everybody Loves Harry Moser from Reshoring Initiative, with two of his buddies,
Matt Shockey and
Harold
Schoch.
There we go. So we're going to be talking about a company called Fives, which is an international company, and we're going to be learning a lot of new stuff. So Harry, why don't you take it from here?
Okay, great. Thank you, Lou, and thank you, Matt and Harold, for joining us. So I'm going to introduce two people. One, Harold Schoch, is CEO for Fives Machining Systems, Inc., and he's leading the unification of a variety of Fives high-performance machining businesses. And second, I'd like to introduce Matt Shockey, who's president of the grinding ultra precision business line of the Fives Group, CEO of Fives Landis Corporation in Hagerstown, Maryland, and managing director of Fives Landis Limited in England. He's got a lot of titles. I don't know how he keeps up with it all, but I'd like to introduce them. And during our conversation, I'd like them to bring out their background. So instead of me telling you what they did, I'd like them to fit it into what we're going to talk about. I think is much better. And I'm going to bring up a slide here, and you can tell me when it's up there. Okay. So how's that? Can you all see it?
Beautiful
color.
Okay. So how about Harold? Can you tell us about the company?
I'll be happy to. Thank you, Harry, and thank you, Lou, for giving Matt and I the opportunity to share with your audience and many of our customers the history of Fives and how we came to the to acquire all of these marquee brand companies. So Fives is an organization that was founded in 1812 in France, and as a manufacturer of steam locomotives in the 19th century, Fives has become today a global leader in the field of industrial engineering, specializing in manufacturing premier metal cutting and grinding machine tools. And as part of the HPM business unit, we're the largest machine tool rebuilder and retrofitter in the U.S., and we have a very strong service team that supports our customers in North America and around the globe. These products are serviced, and the products and services are strengthened by our automation and digital solutions division. We've got a long history of remarkable achievements, beginning with the construction of the first steam and electric locomotives in France. Many of the prestigious structures of the 19th century bear the mark of the Fives Group, including the Alexandra Third Bridge, the Orseray train station, and the Eiffel Tower, which everybody will recognize. Throughout our existence, the Fives Group's journey has been closely linked to major economic events and innovative technological advancements in the industrial world. And lastly, our organization is led by a visionary chairman named Frederick Sanchez. And Frederick embraces our responsibility to be a good corporate citizen and always challenges us to be thought leaders and subject matter experts in the industries we serve. So we've been a leader in innovation throughout our history, and we have grown into a large international company while retaining the operational flexibility of a small, regionally focused business.
Sounds good to me. How about if I bring up the second slide? So either Harold or Matt, whoever wants to tell us what we're seeing.
Well, I think Lou and Harry, thanks for having us on today. I can introduce a little bit about the grinding ultra precision business line. As you can see on the slide there, we provide grinding solution and precision machine tools. We cover various types of precision grinding. The one that we're very well known for is our orbital grinding process, which covers crankshaft and camshaft grinding. We have centerless as well as flat surface grinding, OD/ID grinding equipment for bearings. These are very high production, high precision, highly automated systems. We also provide solutions for grinding abrasives, grinding wheels, diamond tools, and the associated consumables to be used in the grinding process. You can see the name brands that we have: Landis, Bryant, Cincinnati, Cranfield Precision, Die Show, Gardner Abrasives. These are the types of machines that we build with a global worldwide footprint, with facilities in the U.S. as well as all over the world.
Any comments on the other three topics shown there?
Yeah, I'll take that. So the material removal would include the Cincinnati brand, the Giddings and Lewis brand, the Warner and Swayze, Heald, and GA Gray. And at one time, we were the largest machine tool builder in the world. By entering the 1930s, Cincinnati was the largest machine tool builder in the world. Some of the neat things that we really are proud of is that the founder of Cincinnati sold Henry Ford his very first grinder. And one of the neat things or neat stories about that is that after he sold it to him, Mr. Geyer wrote Mr. Ford a letter thanking him for his patronage and wishing him well in his new venture, Ford Motor Company. So I guess he did pretty well. And on the composites and automated solutions side of the business, we are innovators in that technology. A lot of people don't know this. It's one of the best kept secrets in the industry, but Neil Armstrong was on our board of directors from 1980 to 2000. So we got a rich history and a very bright future with a lot of the innovative technologies that are in R&D currently.
Harry, and one of the key differentiators here of this whole group is this services right on the left there, where we provide all the services, field service, retools, rebuilds, recontrolling for the metal removal, composites, and all the grinding line. And we do that all here local in the U.S. As well as through our other facilities in the world.
I have a question. We've been doing manufacturing talk radio now for almost a decade, or just about a decade. And we've talked to small, medium, and large corporations. The vision that I have of Fives is that you're not large, you're huge. And the question, you started in 18 something?
Yes, sir. 1812.
So where was the mission to grow this into a monolithic organization that specializes in this one particular area of manufacturing?
Well,
whose idea was it? Why did it evolve this way?
Well, as I shared earlier, Frederick Sanchez is very visionary. And what he saw, Lou, I think, is that he saw, and Harry and I have lived through this, and Matt's on the tail end of it. He saw the defragmentation of the machine tool industry in the U.S. I mean, at one time, we were the machine tool capital of the world. We mobilized a workforce that, built the munitions and the tanks that freed Europe from the grips of Nazism. And, I think the lost decade of the 2010, we've seen a steady demise of the manufacturing base in the U.S. And Frederick Sanchez, being the entrepreneur he was, he said, listen, here's an opportunity. I don't want to miss that opportunity. And I think, Matt, he bought your group first, right? Didn't he buy Landis first? And then that was kind of the launch into the U.S.?
Very close to the beginning. Some of the automation businesses, I think, were acquired first, but Landis was a close second to that, as well as some of the other grinding businesses that we have.
Yeah, the way I explain it, back to me a little earlier still, back around 1985, the dollar peaked. when the dollar went up 20-30% against the Japanese currency, the Deutschmark at the time, and the others, and it was awfully tough for U.S. manufacturing, U.S. machine tool companies to compete. You couldn't come anywhere near matching that imports price, and many major machine tool companies disappeared. Like I used to work for National Acme, one of the biggest lathe companies, just wiped out. And I think we all owe a lot of gratitude to Fives for maintaining and in many cases growing these lines.
I think the strength, Harry, is Landis and in our high precision division, we're solutions providers. We're not typically just building a machine. That we have a machine, the process, the services, and this is a key part of the vision of FIV is to develop and innovate solutions for our customers and for industry. We really boost the performance of main industry leaders worldwide. And I think what's interesting about the strategy is that, we believe that industry is the answer to all the major challenges that we face, environmental, climate, technical, society, economic, and we have activities all over the world to support this ambition. I think that's how the company was grown, the group was grown around that vision of solving these major issues, with the human race.
And really, that's what attracted me to FIV. So I'm in my 45th year in the machine tool business, a part of a 5-generation machine tool building family. So we're very, very proud of that heritage and that legacy. And I had owned my own business, Lou, and was very profitable, very successful in 2008-2009 downturn. When the whole world was in the tank, that was my family business's best year. We were debt free, cash strong, huge backlog, and it attracted the attention of a company called Konecranes, who was also in the machine tool business. They're a Finnish-based company. They were one of the largest machine tool service companies in the world, about $140 million service business with no products. So Harry and Matt and I know how tough it is to get to that level with no products. So I stayed with them for about 7 years, and then they bought DMAG, which was their #1 global competitor on the lifting side of the business. So they decided to divest the machine tool side, and they asked me to pick a company to pitch it to. And I chose FIV because I saw it as an opportunity to really help the industry that I owe so much to, and I've been very blessed to meet good friends like Matt Shockey and Pasquale Calo, who is our CEO of the Linné Group, and John Stencil, who's over our automation group. And it's just been a joy to bring all these businesses together. So one of the things we haven't shared is that when Frederick bought these businesses, he let them remain as standalone profit centers. So that's great. Each of them were doing well, but the sum of the parts is always greater than the whole. So one of the charges that I was given was to bring all the businesses together under a one FIVs, one united team mission. And it's been embraced by literally the globe. And we're now, instead of having 10 or 12 different business units trying to develop a digital solution to take to the market, we now have all of these engineers in one room or on one Teams call or both, and we get the best of all of those brilliant minds working together in collaboration and consolidation. So now we have a magnificent digital solution that all of the businesses can take to the marketplace. And then because of the economy of scale, we can drive that cost down so the end consumer or our customers are the beneficiaries.
Over the last couple of years, the COVID years, the tariff years, all of these challenges that have affected manufacturing, particularly here in the United States and also in Europe, many companies have found that they had record years in 2021, 22, and 23. And so I asked the question, how did that evolve? You've been in business 100 years. You've gone through all the challenges and all of the hardships, particularly in melding all of your entities into one group. How did you do that and still continue the way you are so successfully? And we are still in a time warp era where we still have problems and challenges.
I think a lot of it's through innovation. It's through innovating new solutions that provide our customers, something better than they have or that they can get somewhere else. And this is a key part of what we do and how we drive our success. Combining operations, adding, the right automation, the right flexibility, the right modular approach to things, the right technologies for the job, and bringing that at a very high quality and at the right cost. I feel that in the U.S., this is what's made us successful, is to be very local to our customers with a very unique and advanced, technical solution to address their challenges.
Well, and we've done a lot of things that, I use the adage, think outside the box without abandoning the box. If you stayed with the same strategies post-COVID as you did pre-COVID, it's not going to end well. And a lot of companies are a testament to that. So one of the advantages, as Matt had referenced earlier, our machine tool service arm. And, we've got probably close to 70 or 80 service technicians who are leaving their homes every day, going out and providing the best customer experience possible. We've also, with starting the HPM Training Academy, we're purpose and intentionally cross-training these folks. So Matt's team, who's spent their entire career repairing grinders and troubleshooting grinders and determining root cause, they're now cross-trained with the metal cutting guys. So we've got a much larger service arm now. And by joining the sales teams, the commercial teams, you get the added benefit of the cross-selling. Because in years past, our grinding sales team was walking by metal cutting opportunities that they could have been driving to one of their sister companies, and our metal cutting team was walking by grinding opportunities that they could have helped promote. Matt's team, and in our strategic partners, as a small family business owner, I always hated transactional relationships. I need a cup of coffee. I give you $1 for that cup of coffee. I don't see you again until I need another cup of coffee. Well, we've launched what we call the FEEV Strategic Partnership Alliance, where we brought what traditionally was called suppliers into a strategic partnership alliance where we're sharing inventories with each other. They're one of our strategic partners, and they're huge partners. Many of them are MROs for major corporations. So they're carrying an inventory, but if we get visibility of that inventory, they have visibility of our inventory, the probability is much higher that they'll be able to take care of their customers' challenges. So we're not, and we also have what we call ISPs, independent service providers, where we actually will partner with other small machine tool service businesses to make sure that we're able to keep our promise. It's a different world, so it requires a different go-to-market strategy altogether. And many of these big companies are opposed to that because it's just outside of their comfort zone.
One of the probably the major problem for all of our companies is the skilled workforce availability. It's never been easy in manufacturing for the last 20, 30 years, but it's gotten worse now. And so I'm wondering, just what have you, first tell us about your individual backgrounds, how you started out and how you got into manufacturing, apprenticeships, things like that.
Well, Harry, I started out as an intern when I was in university for engineering, and I did that internship at Landis. It was the company in my local town. And for a few years while I was in university during the summer, I worked at Landis, and really got familiar with the product, with what they were doing there, and decided to spend my life in grinding from that experience. So I think I'm very supportive of trying to inspire and capture the younger generation at that point in in their career or their education, to bring them in early and really get them involved in hands-on what's happening with the industry, what's happening with the machines, and getting involved with the team and really learning the basics of what a manufacturing company does. And I've seen many others. I'm sure Harold has a very similar experience with how he got involved in manufacturing and why he spent his entire life in that industry.
How
Harold?
much of the new world as it is affects your entire group of 8, 9, 10 companies in relation to the new technologies, the AI, the 3D printing, and ASI, which is the new version of AI, and all the rest of them? How are they impacting your group, and does it impact you as a group of companies or individually by different companies?
Well, they benefit us, Lou. It's a real benefit. FEVE has a metal additive manufacturing activity. We design and manufacture metal 3D printers. We use that technology in a lot of the designs that we have. We have 3D printers at Landis that we use to do prototyping, and so even some of our production components are 3D printed now. So I think that certainly then on the digital side, moving into all the software and the digital solutions, and providing that level of digital solution is a real benefit. We're looking at machine learning, AI, big data. How do we utilize that to make our solution better, to improve the performance of our machines, to get better connected with the customers? We have the digital solution that we're introducing has the ability to better connect with the customer, so that when he needs support, we can provide that immediately. We have all the tools available to connect to the machine and connect to the person that's attempting to troubleshoot or optimize the performance of the system.
Harold, how about your background? How'd you get started?
Well, being part of a 4-generation machine tool building family until my son Buddy became the 5th, I didn't really have much of a choice. I think it was destiny for me. But my first job was with American Tool Works Company in Cincinnati, Ohio. I served my apprenticeship there. Learned the art of, and this is a lost art, a dying art, of machine tool scraping, for geometries and alignments. And you'll remember that, Harry, us older guys. I mean, that's the way the machines were aligned, and that's where the geometry and the accuracies came from. Of course, today now we have linear guides and a plethora of other ways, hydrostatics. But and then I moved from American Tool to LeBlanc, which is where my great grandfather retired. And an interesting part of my family history is my great grandfather had retired from LeBlanc and went back to LeBlanc, as they would do in those days, to exchange pleasantries with the men they worked with. And on his way out, Mr. King, as my father tells me, was the HR director. And my grandfather went in to exchange pleasantries with Mr. King, had a massive heart attack, and died right there in his office. So, it's more than just a job for me. It's been a way of life and a vocation. And from LeBlanc, I went to work for a company called Remachine and Retrofit Company. They had started in 1979. They were started by 2 former Cincinnati Millicron. One was the national service manager, and the other was a regional service manager. And I learned a plethora of things from those guys. They were absolutely brilliant. So I perfected my craft in rebuilding and retrofitting any brand. They taught me to put my hand just out in front of me to cover the name of the OEM and just realize it's just a big hunk of iron with electrons flowing through it. So I had an opportunity to be exposed to just about every make and model, from Ingersoll to Mazak to you name it. And that's really where I perfected the craft and met a lot of the folks in my network. And then from Remachine Retrofit Company, I launched my own business. And in 5.5 years, we had grown to be one of the largest, most recognized machine tool rebuilders and retrofitters in in the U.S. And it's there that I was approached by NTT, which is a third-party MRO for Boeing, to work with Boeing's engineers to author their training manual. And I've been doing a lot of training throughout the country because when Boeing came to me initially, I said no because I had a family business that I had to run. I had all these lives that were dependent upon me, and I knew it would be a huge distraction. But I talked to many of my friends who are businessmen. They said, Harold, the passion you have for the industry and all the deposits that all those men that went before you made into your career, what if they would have told you no? This is your opportunity to multiply this transfer of knowledge to, hundreds of people in a craft college. So I rethought that, and I finally acquiesced and said, okay, I'll do it. And then, as I said, ran my own family business until 2018. Cone Cranes bought DMAG, and then I landed with Fives and Matt and the rest of the great team we have here, and it's been a renaissance and an upward trajectory ever since.
So I think it's great that both of you have that hands-on experience. And one of the weaknesses in the U.S. is that in comparison, say, to Germany or Switzerland or Austria, not enough of our kids get that real hands-on experience. We've got good engineers, they can do analysis, they can do theory, but the background you have, the real hands-on is essential that a much higher percentage of people have that background. So I applaud you for your success. How about telling us about what you're doing to train your employees to bring them up to scale? Any special programs?
Matt, you want to lead with that?
Well, we have, a lot of the things that we're doing is bringing in, we had about 9 interns this year. So, again, going back and starting with people that are just beginning their career, or they're still in university, and really trying to get them involved and inspired to come to Landis and to learn about our machines and about what we do there. We've been fortunate to have several of them come back, and this has been a great vehicle for us to bring new talent into the company. The other thing that we do, I think that's significant, is we hire as many people as we can into the floor technical jobs or the service jobs, and then that becomes a great area for us to train them hands-on on all the basics of the machines, of the metrology, of the tools that we use, so that then they can grow very quickly. We can accelerate them into areas of manufacturing leadership, or into engineering, or furthering their career in different areas of the company with having that basic knowledge, or even quite a high level of knowledge on the machines and the systems that we build.
Okay. How about training the customer, getting them confident or exceptional in using your equipment?
I'll take that piece, Matt, if it's okay.
Sure.
So one thing I'd add is that I mentioned Mark Stocker earlier on, who reports to Matt. Mark is the current president of the American Society of Precision Engineering, and has put together a number of syllabuses for a variety of different disciplines within the industry. But as the statistics show us, at least the recent Pew research says that a third of the workforce, 41 million, is baby boomers. That's huge. That's a huge mass exodus that's going to take place. In 2021, over 47 million Americans voluntarily quit their jobs. And then if you look at the migration, since the beginning of the pandemic, millennials have been job switching at a rate of 50%, and the Gen Xers are right behind them at 31%. So getting the right people on the bus is one thing, but keeping them on the bus, is an entirely different. So what we've demonstrated to our team is that you're important to us. We're going to invest in you. We're going to, as many as we can, we're going to develop ourselves, just like Matt and I were developed. All these subject matter experts who are entrusted with the care of our development. We're doing a lot of mentoring. We have formal classes. We've partnered with companies like Fanuc and Siemens and Threadcraft and SunSource and others to come alongside us to augment and support the curriculum that we're developing ourselves. Again, as I said earlier, strategic partners have been, I think our strategic partners is really the lifeblood of our future. And they're coming alongside us and playing a very important role in the development of the next generation machine tool builders and service teams at Phoeves.
Barry, another significant thing we're doing, I'd really like to thank these guys, is, the retirees that we have. We have had, a lot of people retire, like we were talking about, before the show started. And, we've been really fortunate that these guys, they still remain engaged. They still want to work a little bit, and they're coming back and they're helping us train new employees. And I think we have, maybe 8 of these guys, and that are still involved, and very happy to come back and train the new employees in the company. It's been very successful. This is what they're focused on. They're able to come in a few days a week and really contribute to the future of the company.
That's a great point, Matt. And I'd want to add this. I'd be remiss if I didn't. Training is really woven into the fabric of our company. If you go back to like 1906, there was a new dean of engineering at the University of Cincinnati named Herman Schneider, and he came in with this brilliant idea that had never been tried before that he called a co-op program. And there were 9 members of the board of directors at the University of Cincinnati in 1906. One of them happened to be a gentleman by the name of Frederick A. Geyer, the founder of Cincinnati Milling Machine Company. And he cast the 5th and deciding vote that launched what we know today, and the whole world has been beneficiaries of the co-op program. That's number one. Number two is Cincinnati had in their own internal training program, and we, as Matt had said, we got retirees, but I've got probably 15 to 20 people that are currently on our team that have 40 years or more experience with the company. So they came through that era where the training program was very paramount. We had what we call the 8,000 hour training program. And that's what we would put all of our technicians through. Now the 8,000 hour was by selection. You had the precursor was the 2,000 hour. But those who went through the 8,000, those were truly the cream of the crop. So we still have a remnant, at Matt's companies and the businesses that are under my leadership, who understood the roadmap to becoming, the top machine tool builder in the world. So we're using their expertise to migrate that knowledge transfer over to this current generation of worker.
Just to put my 2 cents into this, and we've been talking about this for a number of years now, and that is that by 2030, I believe the number is that we're going to be short 4 million workers in manufacturing. I think that's the correct number. Or there. So the point is today that parents and schools are still looking to promote kids to go to college. When particularly the parents, they want to send little Johnny Jones to college, and maybe he'll graduate, maybe 60% of the time he won't, and have a $200,000 debt. But there's also this other side where if we had a satisfactory immigration program in this country, we could do a lot better by bringing qualified people into this country, either young ones. I mean, in Germany, they have a whole educational system that teaches the arts and the crafts. And they're doing that, and they've been doing that they invented that. So if we had a qualified immigration program to look to bring people in, we might not be in this spot of, trying to do a crash course on training and this and that, and not have enough people within the next 3-4 years to carry on our manufacturing needs and requirements.
That's why I've been such a big fan of Harry Moser. And I'm not saying that for platitudes. I mean, when Harry started what he was doing, and I think what was around 2010, somewhere thereabouts, there was no voice. There was no voice in Washington. I mean, the politicians had abandoned us, and unfortunately, some executives with corporations didn't. They weren't as long-sighted as they should have been when they started moving a lot of these manufacturing jobs offshore, and they put us at a tremendous risk. Well, thank God Harry and there's others alongside Harry, and Matt and I are silent voices in that movement. But I mean, we're going to reshore 400,000 manufacturing jobs this year alone, and I mean that's wonderful. The elephant in the room is the capacity. Okay, let's bring all those jobs back, but how are we going to man up and make the deliverables? So I think we have a movement started. I think we see this president, and I try to be apolitical because I'm not a politician. I'm for the guy that's going to make the best decisions for the livelihoods of all the aggregate families in the United States. But I do think that, the previous administration did some things. Harry worked with them. This administration is doing some things to help us, Lou. But it's going to start at the grassroots level. I go to these local tech schools and I talk. I invest my time and I share with them. And when you share a story, every young man, they're just like us. We all love good stories. We love hearing about the history of our company or our family or what have you. And I went over to Gateway middle of last year and just to talk to them about our organization and the history. And they don't teach them this in school. They don't teach them how satisfying that it can be to manufacture things with your hands. And when I shared with them that during World War II, Cincinnati Milling Machine Company produced a machine tool every 17 minutes, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year to help win the war in Europe. And when I tell them that we machined all, not most, all of the large gun barrels in the naval fleet, they're astonished by this. And when you tell them Bethlehem Steel was the largest shipbuilder in the world, incorporated in 1857 in our great country, dismantled our federal bankruptcy courts in 2003, 163 acres long along the Lehigh River. Eugene Grace, their chairman, went to President Roosevelt and said, "Mr. President, the employees of Bethlehem Steel is going to provide a ship a day to help in the war effort." And they did it, 1,122 vessels. These kids are like drawn to those stories. So we got to share this with them. We got to link that past to today and what the future projections can be if they'll come alongside us and help us get there. And they're really enthralled by that. They really are. I don't know if you're experiencing that or not, but these young people today are no different than we were. They just got to get the right message from the right messenger, and they have to believe it, and then they'll mobilize behind us.
I agree with you 110% on that.
Yeah. How about, we mentioned reshoring there, and obviously that's one reason I'm here. How about talking to us about what you've been doing for the supply chain, either in the company or with your customers?
I think this is pretty interesting, guys. What's happening in the U.S. right now is, obviously a huge amount of investment in the electrification, of the auto industry. And so where we're finding ourselves in the grinding industry is having to support both the requirements of the internal combustion engine components, which you can see at the bottom: crankshaft, camshafts, connecting rods, lifters, piston rings. All of these components within an internal combustion engine need a precision grind operation. And then on the other hand, we're now having to design new equipment for the industry to support the EV components, which you can see is gears and G rotors and other types of electric motor shafts and pinions. So this is a very interesting time for us. And back to Lou's question about some of the growth that we've seen, some of the the situation that we have with some of the historic backlogs that we're currently experiencing as a result of supporting both of these technologies, right? And on the internal combustion engine side, a lot of that is on the support side. There's a lot of retooling, recontrolling, modernization of existing equipment to support what's happening in the internal combustion engine side of the industry. And then on the electric side, it's really all new equipment. It's highly flexible, highly automated, precision equipment to grind these types of components.
That's great. So you're right there on the forefront. I'm glad it's working. How about automation? Automation's awfully important for our wages are higher than in places like China, and so to bring the work back, automation is essential to get our costs competitive.
Absolutely right. When you look at the slide and the system that we have here for the electric vehicle shaft production, you'll see that this is a fully automated system. There's robots that load and unload the parts into the system with a gantry loader that takes it. And this is a completely flexible system that runs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, fully automated. And this is the types of solutions that we create for a majority of our applications. You'll have some kind of automation that is doing all the loading, the unloading, of the equipment, and then the machine itself is an automatic cycle. Everything inside, and to a high degree, a lot of the flexibility is created through automation, that we're moving the components of the machine to adapt to various different types of components. So this is certainly a key differentiator of what we do, and a big part of the solutions that we created is based around automation. It's based around, we call it lights out manufacturing, being able to manufacture 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, without so much human intervention in the process.
Harold, to add?
Yeah, Matt kind of summed it up, but I think one of the things that we also bring that we didn't talk about is our automation business unit, okay, that exclusively focuses on the automation technology, robots, pick and place, conveying systems, etc. Amazon is a big customer of ours. The conversation I had with Mike Chico, who's the chairman of FANUC, I think it was this most recent IMTS. I don't want to put words in Mike's mouth, but I think he told me that their year-over-year sales had increased post-COVID by 40%. We're seeing a very similar increase on our automation team. That's the DIAG organization that won't be on the banner that you'll see here on the next 2 or 3 slides. And we've got a Synetics group that also is heavily invested in automation. We're working very closely with a very high-tech inventor of a cell solution that we're probably going to acquire within the next 30 to 60 days that we believe will make us a leader in the industry, because we can take that technology and we can automate anybody's cell. So we're always looking forward, and automation certainly is going to be one of the aids in the depleting workforce that we see. You're going to need fewer people. If we can put robot and automation and to work for us. So we're looking at the entire, as Matt said earlier, we really promote ourselves as a solution provider. And if you only have a handful of products and services, that's not really a solution provider, that's a service provider. Solution provider is to come in and do turnkey. And we're even, considering strategic partnerships with other businesses that might do the cranes or might do foundations or buildings, to come in so they have a single source that they can turn to, and develop a strong, long-term sustainable partnership.
That's great. Let me go on to our next slide here.
Harry, just to add there, and we have all these highly automated systems, very precise systems, and robust. But what you also need when you have a system like that is a really skilled workforce for the maintenance, for the quality adjustment, for the, even the operators have to be very skilled in the adjustments and how the system works. So we may have, less of the hard work is done by the automation, but the really skilled, controls type, quality type work is done by the people that are involved in operating that system.
In any case, I refer to the automation not as a way to have fewer people, but a way to get more production out with the same number of people, and generally a more engaging, rewarding job. Yes. That'll make them happier with their career, more likely to stay with you.
You're right. And the data shows that automation does not reduce the workforce. It creates other opportunities, for that workforce to be more effective. As leaders, we should never be looking at cutting. We should always be looking at building, investing in people, and finding a way to migrate those folks who maybe that automation might transplant into another critical part of our business.
So how about, again, back to reshoring, and let's say reshoring and just generally producing in the U.S. Tell us what you're doing.
So, Harry, I wanted to provide you a few examples here of some of the things that we're doing. This is our hydrostatic spindle and bearings. These are, quite prevalent in our machines. We have many mechanisms with high power, high precision rotating components. And this is a Landis design. This is the heart of our technology, which traditionally has been made, at least on the production side of things. In the past, we were sourcing this through the UK. We have a division of ours in the UK, and based on cost and lead times, we traditionally would manufacture most of these components in the UK facility. But since the pandemic and the rising costs and the issues with the supply chains, we've reshored a significant amount of this production back to our operation in Hagerstown. So you can see the traditional supply chain was UK for the raw material, UK for the machining, and the assembly, and then we ship it to Hagerstown, Maryland, assemble it in the machine from the precision components that you see there. Now in the new post-pandemic world, we obtain the raw material here in the U.S., and then we do the machining, the grinding, and the precision assembly also in the Hagerstown factory.
Well, because you've reshored something made out of metal, you can apply for the National Metalworking Reshoring Award, which will be the winner for 2024 will be announced at IMTS 2024. So I'd love to have you apply for that. Okay.
Thanks, Harry.
Yeah.
I think the next one, if you bring up the next slide, this one's really interesting because this also shows the collaboration that we have within the FEVE high precision team. So this is a very large base. This is quite an interesting application. This is for say large locomotives or power generation equipment. This is a very large crankshaft that you see there. The one that this machine is designed for is around 17 feet long. And the 30-ton machine base here, traditionally we'd go to China for this raw casting. We'd ship that. This thing would go around the world. We'd ship it to the UK for machining, and then it would come the whole way to Hagerstown for assembly. Now, with the issues with cost and with the supply chain, especially the logistics side of that equation, we've reshored this machine base back to the U.S. So the raw casting comes from Pennsylvania. You can see at the bottom, there's a few pictures of this thing going through the process. This has just occurred within the last few months. We take a truck and we ship this to Harold's team up at FEVE's G&L in Wisconsin, and they do all the machining on that. You can see the picture on the right. That's the base on the Giddings and Lewis machine in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. And then this thing comes back to Landis in Maryland, where we do the final assembly. So these are some of the examples of the things we're working on with reshoring. We're also looking, I think this is pretty interesting, also on these machine bases for our new products, looking at different materials like epoxy granite and even maybe a concrete type solution where we can reshore these without having to go through the intense casting process. And we can use new technologies that are available to create a machine base out of an alternate material.
Well, it's great with the tradition that you have with all these great lines to still be bringing more back to the United States. And I applaud you for that.
Thank you.
So you can see now,
I didn't mean to cut you off. Yeah.
Harry and Lou, you can see now why I'm so high on Matt Shockey and why Frederick Sanchez has such confidence in the vision that we're building together for this one FEVE's, one united team presentation to really literally to the world. And I also hats off to Matt. He's leading the charge in our FEVE's family of businesses to reshore these machines. And reshore these components, I should say. And he and I are working in concert together with our teams, as he said earlier, some composite opportunities for maybe even on the GNL side. But his team is, especially that team in Cranfield. Why don't you tell them a little bit about that, Matt? What we're doing to look at innovation in the future, you know, with Stocker and Fletcher and all of those guys. Just kind of give them a peek behind the curtain to what we do when we start looking at, you know, what's driving the future, you know, in the marketplace.
Well, what we're doing, Harold, thank you, is a significant investment in innovation. And we have a team in Cranfield, we call this like our skunk works, where this is a dedicated team, a dedicated facility that is used for the innovation of our systems, of softwares, of our technologies. And the technology that you see on the screen here was all born out of Cranfield. The hydrostatic technology, the controls, the spindles that we use to grind these, very large crankshafts to very high degree of precision. A lot of the metrology systems, all this works together, and it comes out of this team that we have at Cranfield Precision, again, dedicated to the task of innovating for our grinding group. And the challenges that we face is really what's happening with, the electrification of the automotive industry. And that's happening, very quickly in Europe and in China. The U.S., we still have a bit of a different strategy, but that transition is occurring, as very, very quickly. So what we're facing is having to go into and find other places where we can apply our technology. And this team in Cranfield works to identify the markets that our technology is suitable for, as well as designing and adapting our machinery to support those new applications.
So just if I could add on to that, Harry and Lou, we're on 4 continents. And just to give you a breakdown of what that distribution is for our business, we've got 26 subsidiaries in the Americas. 37% of our order intake is in region Americas. 45 subsidiaries are in Europe. About 38% of our order intake is in Europe. In the Africa and the Middle East, we have 6 subsidiaries, and 4% of that represents 4% of order intake. And in Asia, there's 8 subsidiaries there, 21%. So it just gives me a great amount of pride. I'm one of, the handful of Fives Inc. Board of directors in North America. So as I get to look at the trend of what's happening in America, we're one of those companies, Harry, that you call a foreign direct investment, right, in the U.S. and nearly $2.3 trillion was invested in U.S. in 2022. We're one of those companies. We're building an empire in North America. And this year, we just had our CEO meeting of all the CEOs in all 3 divisions or branches of our business, the machine tool division, what we call SAS or Smart Automation Solutions, and then aluminum and steel. Matt sponsored us in Hagerstown. We're going to approach, I don't know that we'll reach it, but we'll approach $1 billion in North America. And this is a company that until they bought Cinetic and Matt in 1985, thereabouts. You're talking about 30 years doing $1 billion. Do the math. That's quite a growth trajectory, And it doesn't happen through osmosis. There's a lot of intentionality, and we give really credit to our people. Matt and I, we know we're standing on the shoulders of our people. There's 8,700 employees in this business, 69 different nationalities, and all of that coming together is how we get all of these solutions. That's helping you, Harry, reshore product to the United States, and helping all of those companies in the United States gain more momentum, so then we can begin to sell to the world at a value. Okay, we're back in the game again because of all the efforts of folks like you and Lou letting Matt and I get our message out, a good message, and because there seems to be a movement of patriotism in the United States again. And I think we're gaining a lot of momentum with that.
Well said, gentlemen.
How about if you guys just briefly go through the top names? These are all your brands, you know, and we put the best known ones I think at the top, but that's an incredible group of companies.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Harry. Yeah, I just got a comment about Cincinnati, I think speaks for itself. You can go anywhere in the world, and most places you go and you say Cincinnati, they don't know it's a town. They think it's a machine tool company. I mean, that's just the facts. But let me just speak a little bit about G&L. Really proud of the legacy and the history there. And I'm especially proud of the town. Fond du Lac is a community that's growing. There's great vision there on their city council. Giddings and Lewis was founded in 1859, and Fond du Lac, we're still there. We celebrated 160 years of building machines, the finest machine tools in the world, in America, in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. When the state of Wisconsin was only 11 years old, Fives, Giddings and Lewis first opens its doors on the corner of Reese and Doty Streets, and we're still on Doty Street. We work closely with the Moraine Park Technical College in Fond du Lac, and we're working with Diane Benson. She is the Community Development Director for the City of Fond du Lac to help us restructure our plant for greater efficiency and lower cost in partnership with the city. They've come alongside us, and I can't promote them more because they're doing all the right things to attract businesses to their locale. And if every small city in America would adopt that type of a philosophy where they recognize that manufacturing is really the key to the future, then I think that roadmap that you're putting together, Harry, you'll be able to retire sooner because you can say I brought 5 million jobs back to the U.S. And I find it interesting that if you just take manufacturing in the U.S. alone, it would be the 8th largest economy in the world. I mean, think about that, guys. Just get our minds around that.
But it should be the 5th largest economy.
I'm with you, brother. I'm with you. Let's make it happen.
I remember Warner and Swasey as one of the great machine tool companies of the world. You've got a great lineup there.
Thank you, Harry. We're very proud of that, of the legacy products, and we're working very hard to take care of them.
Anything else you'd like to add? Anything we didn't cover that we missed that you want to make sure the audience hears?
Just to thank you, Lou, and thank you, Harry, for all your efforts to, inspire people to come work for manufacturing and to work with companies like ours to reshore components and, grow the U.S. economy. This is a spectacular effort. Thank you.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity that you all come to Manufacturing Talk Radio so that we can get your message out. And it's an important message. And like I said earlier, we're at about the 820th show, 16 this week. So it's hard work on our part. It's hard work on your part, but we're all succeeding to make a better place for everyone in manufacturing. And I want to thank you all for joining me on Manufacturing Talk Radio.
We're with you guys.
It's been our pleasure. Thank you. Thank you, Lou. Thanks, Harry. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Let's talk in the future.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Bye-bye now.
Thank you.
I'm just wild about Harry.